It is Wichita State and Southern for the second consecutive year. The Jaguars, Lady Jags, gave the Shockers all they wanted last year in a 69-63 Wichita State victory. Welcome into Charles Koch Arena. It's Shane Dennis and Tracy Anderson with you here courtside. Let's get directly to our keys to the game. The keys for Southern give the Lady Jags their first win. Sharing is caring. They only have 5 assists. Even the best of one-on-one teams have better than 5 assists. We'll get to the rest of the keys in a minute, and we'll take care of the starting lineup. So we're ready to play. Shane and Tracy with you. Glad you could drop by as Southern tries to get into the win column. Wichita State tries to start 3-0 for the second time in the Keitha Adams era. First shot up and errant from a Lady Jags. A loose ball rebound will keep it on this end. Once again, we mentioned Southern gave Wichita State all it wanted last year in a 69-63 Shocker win under now third-year head coach Carlos Funchess. We'll get to his particulars in just a little bit, but this is a Southern team, Tracy, that's picked to really make some noise in the SWAC this year. They picked to finish third.
Yeah, and it might be a little misleading because their first 2 games were losses, but it was against Big 12 opponents. So the Shockers will have to do the little things right, make open shots, and do a good job on the defensive end.
Asia Strong's first shot a little too strong. Back tap by Anae Adams. It's controlled by McWayne for Southern. Jags come in averaging just 42.5 per game. They were held to 34 in a loss in the most recent game against Oklahoma State. And this, Tracy, is the third consecutive opponent for Wichita State that either doesn't shoot the 3 well or doesn't bother to shoot many at all, and Southern falls into that category.
Yeah, and it's been interesting because the Shockers have come out 3 straight games in a zone, and I think that has a little to do with their numbers, but it also has to do with their opponent too. So they've been very good, especially making adjustments in the zone. We'll see if that's the case tonight.
Cross-court skip pass. McWayne passed up the shot, and now a forced 3 is good by Chloe Fleming, and that's news because that is now 2 for 20 on the season from long distance. The Lady Jags were only 1 out of 17 coming in, but they make their first one here tonight, and it's the first basket of the game.
And that was a good defensive possession by the Shockers. It was late in the shot clock and just a better shot at that time.
Seraphine Baston spins into the lane and rolls off. Shockers have missed their first 2. A jump ball will keep it on this end. So a heads-up play by Seraphine Baston. She and Carla Bremaw for Wichita State playing in their 63rd games. Both of them juniors. Both of them have been in there virtually from the time they walked on campus.
Well, and you can see as they've grown and improved, so has the Shockers in general. Their team-wise, their stats, their wins. So she really built the team based on those 2, and it's paying off now. Yeah,
and Baston does a little bit of everything for Wichita State, fills up the old stat column on the sheet. Asia Strong's second shot goes down. Asia Strong is a newcomer for Wichita State. Scored 16 in the win most recently against Alcorn State. Had 20 in her Shocker debut. She can really fill it up.
Yes, she can, and she can do it in a variety of ways. She's very good in the paint. She's strong, but her pull-up jumper is very pretty. It's nice to watch, and she can actually step out and shoot the 3 too if she needs to.
Corner 3 wouldn't go down by McWayne, who came in averaging 6 per game. Had 9 against Wichita State last year. Bremaw for 3. She continues to stay hot. Carla Bremaw is now 9 for 14 from three-point range this year.
And she looks like a completely different shooter compared to last year. Just so much more confident in rhythm. I don't think she's taken any different types of threes. It's just that she's more confident in rhythm. And the guards are doing a good job of getting the ball to her.
Genevieve Johnson has it right now, top of the circle for the Lady Jags. She's their leading scorer, 25 in blue. She's got it on the wing, drives in, a big Euro step, and banks it in. Pretty play by Johnson. She had 9 in the loss last year against Wichita State, had 21 earlier this year against Kansas State.
That was a great attack on the baseline, which is what you don't want to give up against a zone. You don't want to give up the baseline, and she attacked it and made them pay.
Johnson, 5'8" sophomore from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. There's a foul on Southern, so that'll be the first foul of the quarter for either team. Failed to mention the officials for tonight's game. Isaac Johnson, Natasha Kamey, Jennifer White will be the ones blowing the whistles. So the Shockers with a reset shot clock as much as it's going to be to stay on the same end, 20 to shoot for Wichita State.
And the Shockers like to look for Adams or Strong in the sideline out of bounds. We'll see if that's the case here.
Baston will trigger it in after a little house cleaning is taken care of. Maybe a little perspiration on the floor, and that was apparently satisfactory for Isaac Johnson. So now let's continue to play. Wichita State playing its second straight game without one of their leading scorers from a year ago, Mariah McCulley. She had results of an MRI come back negative, so that's good news after missing the Alcorn State game as well. So it's the second straight game without their preseason all-conference selection, Mariah McCulley. Shockers hope to have her back on Sunday when they play next.
The Shockers were fortunate because they got Johnson back, so she was able to step in last week. We'll see how she does today when she comes in.
Yeah, Rachel Johnson did a little bit of everything in her Shocker debut too. Angle 3 right side wouldn't go for Amani McWayne. And going to the deck was Anae Adams. Was she pushed, or did they just say she lost her balance?
Yeah.
So it'll stay on this end. And again, for a team that came in 1 for 17 from 3, Southern keeps trying. They're 1 for 5 tonight. 5 of their 6 shots have been long distance. Last year, Southern 16 wins, Wichita State 16 wins. Very similar results to last year's season. Johnson's second basket, she's got 4.
It's a nice pull-up J, kind of in the soft middle of that zone. Shockers are going to have to keep an eye on her because she's definitely can put it in the basket.
She's the only player coming in averaging double figures. She has 15 per. Adams left it short, and a good job by Raven White to make it tough on her. White played last year in the game against Wichita State, and Chloe Fleming just fired it into the Shocker bench as one of the Lady Jags kept going toward the basket, and then Fleming thought she was going to stop. Checking in for her will be Nakia Kinsey, who played 19 minutes against Oklahoma State the other night.
It's going to be interesting. Both teams have similar numbers. The Jags dress 9 and the Shockers dress 8, so we'll see how each uses their bench.
Bremaw almost lost it and finally gives it up on the right side to McCarty.
Great hesitation.
And a banker is good. McCarty can do that. She can get all the way to the basket. She had 5 points and 6 assists in their most recent win over Alcorn State.
And she's just getting better and better. She's only a sophomore, and her decision-making is getting better too.
And speaking of, there aren't too many upperclassmen on this Southern team either.
Yeah.
They are fairly young themselves. And an angle 3 on the left side goes down, so the Lady Jags have now exceeded their entire season total from 3-point makes. They're 2 of 6 tonight. That one dumped in by Kinsey, who was just into the game. Strong wants a 3 over everything. She was 1 of 3 from long distance in her first 2 games as a Shocker.
And she can hit that shot, but I don't think Coach Adams wants it that quick in the shot clock without any rotation.
That 3-pointer wouldn't go down. Kinsey tried another one. Baston in transition, cut off, but foul. So Southern with an early 3-point lead at our first timeout of the first quarter.
Everyone thinks she's dead. I'm not living without her.
Welcome back. Southern with an early 10-7 lead over Wichita State. Shane Dennis and Tracy Anderson with you. The Shockers trying to stay undefeated. Southern trying to get its first win of the season. Seraphine Baston, first of 2 from the free throw line. That's the first trip to the line for either team and the first point so far. Here are the keys to the game that we try to wedge in here for you. Sharing is caring. We mentioned Southern only with 5 assists all season. And for a team that's only scored 42.5 points a game, Trace, you might want to get out in transition, get some cheap ones. That would help.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're struggling offensively, that's the best way to get it done.
Corner 3 wouldn't go, so now Southern is 2 of 8 from long distance. Wichita State's keys, I know Keith Adams was concerned about the boards. They wanted to try to out-rebound Southern, who's being out-rebounded by nearly 13 a game, and Wichita State value the possessions. They've only turned it over on average 14 times a game.
Yes, they've done a good job taking care of the ball. They've had a few problems, especially early in games, boxing out in that zone. So she hopes, especially with long shots, come long rebounds. So she's hoping to limit those extra possessions for the Jaguars.
Asia Strong forces one up and scores. Starting lineups, the starters are long gone. They'll in and out since then. But starting lineups brought to you by Dillon. So we are caught up and tied up. 10-10 late in the stages of the first quarter. Subs in for Southern. Zaria Harlow, Cabria Lee now handling it.
And that's going to be a tough matchup for the Jaguars if they continue to try to play Strong one-on-one, because she's just too talented offensively.
Blocked by McCarty on a leaner by Lee, and Baston in transition back the other way.
Great pass by McCarty to get it out quickly, and Baston did a nice job of sprinting the floor.
So Seraphine Baston has 3. Wichita State with 6 fast break points here in the first quarter. Even though Southern is 0-2 and lost badly as far as the final score is concerned, Tracy, you and I were both talking before the game, and there's a turnover by Metcalf. They were right with Oklahoma State at the half and only trailing by 1 against K-State at the half in Manhattan. The second half was a different story, but it's hard to put away Southern, certainly in the first halves of games so far.
Absolutely, and you can probably attest their lack of numbers to the slow second halves, on both ends of the floor.
Great up and under move and a finish with a left hand by Trajada Colbert. So both teams have gone as deep as they possibly can. All the subs for both teams, by my count, have all made it into the game so far.
Yeah, and Southern needs to try to look for something other than settling for three-point shots. When they've attacked the baseline, they've done a good job and scored right there again. Attacking the baseline against that zone, got a good look out of it.
Harlow came in with just 3 points in her first 2 games, gets her first 2 there. They must have heard you. Attacking the paint. And I think McCarty stepped on the baseline on her drive. And so that's Wichita State's second turnover, beg your pardon. So final 1:48 here in the quarter. Tanera Moore checks in for the first time, so that makes it official now for the Lady Jags. Rachel Johnson in there along with Colbert, as we mentioned, off the Shocker bench.
It's a pretty long lineup for the Shockers down low in that zone with Colbert and Strong and Duncan. That's a nice lineup.
McCarty looks like she'll get a trip to the free throw line. So Wichita State 1 for 2 from there. Southern yet to go to the foul line. That is at least 4 fouls by the Lady Jags here in the first quarter. Shockers only 1 foul.
And Coach Funchess can't be happy with that. The Shockers have been getting the ball in the paint at will, whether it's in a pass to the post or the guards penetrating. They got to shore that up if they want to hang with the Shockers.
So Wichita State now 2 of 3 from the stripe. They're shooting just under 66% in their first 2+ games. And that's off the heel, no good. Batted around, but controlled by Lee. Lee on a 3-on-2. Risky pass. Got through, and Drano. Tanisha Metcalf, her first 2 points. She had 10 against K-State.
I was going to say that wasn't the best decision, but it sure ended up being the best decision.
Found its recipient.
Yes.
Shockers have made their last 3 field goal attempts. 6 of 11 in the opening quarter. Strong kind of an off balance and didn't have a real good look at the bucket. Missed off to the right. Final minute. Southern trying to take a lead, and that's steps on Cabria Lee.
It was a good move by Strong. She was just floating a little bit, didn't quite get her feet completely under her on that spin move.
4th turnover of the quarter for Southern. Carla Bremaw back in. Breemaw off to a good start offensively in her junior season, averaging 14.5 a game. Hit an early three-pointer. The only one for Wichita State. They're 1 of 2.
They've gone with a smaller player against Strong. Great feed by Strong to Colbert.
She only had 2 assists in her first 2 games, Asia Strong. Normally looks to score, and why not? She can really fill it up, 18 a game, but a good look underneath to Colbert. So Trajada Colbert now has 4 points off the bench. Southern will hold it for the final shot. McWayne now out top to Johnson. McWayne partially blocked, and that'll do it. So Wichita State with a 2-point lead after 10 minutes here on ESPN+.
X, outsmart the elements. Find Rain-X silicone wipers at these retailers.
Carlos Funchess entering his 3rd season as the head coach at Southern, a longtime assistant prior to that. And his very first season, a couple of seasons ago, won the SWAC tournament, and went to the NCAA tournament, won 20 games. So he set the bar pretty high for himself. 20-13 his first year, 16-14 last year, 0-2 so far this season. Batted around, and we will be going the other way. Funchess, Southern, we talked about Tracy. They lost K-State, lost Oklahoma State, obviously playing a big schedule in the early going, but our pick to finish 3rd in the SWAC, so this figures to be a tighter game than the Wichita State-Alcorn State game was, I guess, if you go by that.
Absolutely. And last year they played a tough schedule again.
Steal, run out, and basket by Johnson. She's got 6.
Last year they played a tough schedule too, so it would, he's getting his kids groomed for the conference. These early games are here to teach him. So the only thing you have to be careful of is not to, especially if you have a really young team, that they don't get too discouraged by getting beat badly in the first couple of games.
Trajada Colbert's having quite a first half already, coming off the bench with 6 points. She is a perfect 3 for 3 from the floor, and that's now 12 points in the paint for Wichita State. A little mid-range pull-up jumper would not go, all Shockers underneath after Johnson misfired.
Nice.
Breemaw transition, once 3, wouldn't go.
All but didn't go.
Just went halfway down and came out. 2 Shockers fighting over the rebound, and it comes away to the Lady Jags. A big step through, partially blocked. Metcalf caught her own shot. I hope it was blocked.
Yes, I think so.
Metcalf eyeing a 3, didn't want it. 13 to shoot for the Lady Jags. Neither team has had much of a lead. It's been a back and forth first 11 and a half minutes or so.
It's been a pretty clean game. Not a ton of turnovers by either team.
Beating the shot clock was McWayne, and a couple of Shockers were flat-footed, thought she didn't get it off, but Shockers do come away with a rebound. Rachel Johnson handling it for Wichita State, and an offensive foul called against Trajada Colbert. Second foul of the quarter, rather, for Wichita State.
Yeah, and that was a little bit on Johnson's part, too, because when you set a ball screen for a guard, the guard needs to wait and make sure that post player is completely set, and she wasn't. That was an obvious call there. So that's kind of she did kind of lean into her, but the guard's got to wait. And
that happens a lot, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
The guards need to kind of hold their water a little bit.
Right. Unfortunately, the posts are the ones that get called for the foul, but guards can really help that or hurt it by the way they go off that screen.
Metcalf cut off. Now right wing to Chloe Fleming. She's got one of the 2 Jag 3s here in the first half. Tough pull-up shot, wouldn't go. Good contest from Wichita State and a rebound by Anae Adams. Huge step through the lane, and McCarty got bailed out.
Wow.
DJ McCarty, a foul was called, and McCarty took 2 giant steps through the lane. It was a little bit out of control, and some would say he got bailed out right
yes.
there.
That's one thing about her game she really needs to work on is not get so deep in the paint. She had an easy pull-up 8-foot jumper if she had taken it.
Foul assessed to Metcalf. That's her second.
Ooh.
So I believe she is the only player with more than one, and that didn't take long for Metcalf, who came off the bench to pick up 2 fouls. She's got 3 points. And McCarty back irons the first free throw. DJ McCarty, 3 points, 2 rebounds in the early going, 2 assists already after a career-high 6 assists in our last game.
The Shockers have done a better job each year of sharing the ball, and this year is a prime example of that. With Baston and McCarty, I think, are both averaging 5 assists a game. That's good.
As a team, Wichita State 17 assists in their first 2 games. We talked about the one-on-one and the dribble drive that Southern usually falls in love with. They are just not going to have many assists just by the style of play. Shockers with a 3-point lead. Largest lead for either team has been 4. Wichita State with an early 4-point lead.
And again, Bremal gave up the baseline drive, which is a no-no again when you're in a zone defensively.
So that's Bremal's first foul. Baston checks in for Rachel Johnson.
The Shockers tend to go man-to-man when they're playing inbounds under their own basket.
They do here, nearly force a 5-second violation. 3 minutes in the second quarter. The only other meeting between these two teams came last year. That was it. So back-to-back contests here at Charles Koch Arena between Southern and Wichita State. A foul, I think, might send Chloe Fleming to the line. Was she in the act of shooting? Yes, she was.
Oh, I thought she was. Yeah, I did too.
Well, I thought for all the world that the official put up the 2 fingers and said we're going to shoot free throws, but I guess he thought better of it. Runner wouldn't go too hard off the glass. Asia Strong couldn't control, and it will stay on this end. Asia Strong there you see with the little bandage below her lip. Understand she had to get stitches the other night.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that serious at the time, but apparently it was.
I wondered since she was back in the locker room for quite a while and came out.
She missed a fair amount of the first half after taking a shot to the mouth. Ended up, though, with 16 points against Alcorn State anyway. Corner set shot 3 wouldn't go. Strong kind of tapped it away from 2 Southern players to Anae Adams.
And
we'll
Anae
stay
Adams
on this end.
Continues her rebounding prowess. She's been a good jolt for the Shockers in that area.
So Southern has kind of had tough sledding over the last couple of minutes on their offensive end. Wichita State's been hovering around 50% from the floor for the entire game, and Asia Strong with a nice feed from Serafini Baston, and Wichita State has its largest lead.
That was just great execution by the Shockers. Several screens, screen the screener, and miscommunication by the Jaguars led to an easy bucket.
So the Jags are now 0 for the last 6. They haven't scored in over 3.5 minutes, and that's seen Wichita State been able to extend its lead. Flat-footed rebound by Carla Bremal, and the drought continues for the Lady Jags. Came into the game shooting only 30.4% from the floor, and that's about where they are right now.
The Shockers have been much more active in that zone today. Hands up, taking away lanes.
Good
Great
hesitation
drive.
dribble and finish by DJ McCarty. She's got 6. Shocker lead is now 7.
And Coach Funchess cannot be happy with that. The Shockers continue to get any shot that they want, and it's all deep in the paint, so they haven't even had to really settle for threes.
14 of Wichita State's 24 points come in the painted area. And a bump by Bremal, and that's 2 fairly quick ones on her in the quarter. And that may put the Shockers over the limit, or if not that one, the next one. That's 4 fouls here in the quarter. So quickly back in, Rachel Johnson. You see her there in the middle of your screen. So next Shocker foul, and we'll have Lady Jag free throws here in the quarter as Carlos Funchess looks on. Funchess, a player back in the day in the Southland Conference, played for then Northeast Louisiana, now Louisiana Monroe.
And he's really known for developing post players, and he's had some good post players when he was an assistant, and now last year as a head coach, he's had really good post players.
Yeah, he spent 14 years on the same bench under former coach Sandy Pugh, so he's very familiar with Baton Rouge. McCarty yet again gets all the way to the basket. And you mentioned it. Carlos Funches just got to be beside himself over there. 8 points for DJ McCarty. And the drought is now over 5 minutes for Southern. And that is a 9-0 Wichita State run. It's starting to get away from the Lady Jags here midway through the second.
And on the opposite side of that, Coach Adams has to be happy with that because her kids have moved the ball and not settled for outside shots. They've attacked that zone, that defense in the paint.
Amani McWayne with the third Lady Jag three, and they could use that one, that's for sure. That snaps a 9-0 run.
Actually, that's 4, so they've doubled their season totals.
Unbelievable. So we got a timeout on the floor. Wichita State up a half a dozen. Head coach Keith Adams in her 4th year at Wichita State. Shockers trying to make it 3-0 for the second time under Coach Adams in her brief tenure on the Shocker bench. Wichita State with victories over Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, and Alcorn State. They're playing their second consecutive SWAC team and playing Southern again for the second year in a row. The Shockers having all kinds of trouble on the inbound. Colbert controls, forces, and hits again. Trajana Colbert stays perfect, and Wichita State mounts the lead back up to 8.
She was not to be denied in that move. She was going to take it to the basket no matter what.
It was like a hot potato there for about 15 seconds.
Yes, it was.
Colbert now 4 of 5 officially from the floor, so she is perfect no longer, but Wichita State as a team shooting 60% in the first half.
Yeah, that's remarkable, and a tribute to the kids, taking great shots and getting quality shots for them.
Well, that's Colbert's second foul, so now 2 Shockers have 2 to join Metcalf from Southern with 2. And we should be shooting free throws. There we go.
Yeah.
Raven
Shane,
White to the line.
You talked about Coach Adams, and she's everywhere she's gone, she's won, and she's developed programs, and she stays with programs. She hasn't jumped around. So she started at Independence and made that a national juggernaut, and then went to Texas El Paso and UTEP and spent several years there and built that program. And she's doing the same thing here. She's not trying to do it fast. She's trying to bring in freshmen, some JUCO kids, an international flair, and her squad is getting better, and they're kind of taking on her personality.
Finished 16 and 15 a year ago. Serafini Baston with just a little hesitation dribble drive got all the way to the rim again, and I have a feeling you know what Carlos Funches is going to be talking about at halftime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shut off the Wichita State drives to the bucket.
Yeah, and that's really difficult to do as far as stopping Baston, because I think she is just phenomenal at going north and south.
10 to shoot for the Lady Jags. Right angle, Kinsey backs it out between the rings, now runs a clock play. Corner 3, no good. Well, contact underneath between Raven White and Duncan for Wichita State. Shockers come away with it, and the Jags stay ice cold. They are 1 for the last 10 from the floor, 2 of 11 overall in the quarter. Can't buy a bucket.
And they're moving the ball. They're moving the ball side to side against that zone. It's just the Shockers are doing a really nice job of extending their defense, being active.
An offensive foul. So that was worth a try.
Yep.
Johnson tried to get to the basket. She was cut off, so a player control foul on her. And I think that's her second foul as well, yeah. Just under 2 minutes left in the quarter.
Yeah, the best way to attack a zone off the dribble is if you can get the ball moving side to side and then try to attack off a weak side swing pass. And right there she tried to attack on the strong side. It just wasn't there.
Angle 3 wouldn't go down on the right side for Rachel Johnson. She remains scoreless after getting 13 and 6 rebounds in her debut a couple of days ago against Alcorn State. That was only Johnson's first foul, so check that. Metcalf remains the only Lady Jag with 2. And we're going to stay here. Looks like maybe, Johnson with a hold underneath. You got to give it to the Lady Jags. They've been active on the boards, making Wichita State really work to seal them off.
And it's been a battle inside on this end of the floor by both teams. I called that on Duncan, I believe.
Beg your pardon. Yep. So Duncan with the foul, and now Wichita State mentioned over the limit. Free throws coming up, I think, for Raven White again, who just split a pair from the free throw line. Raven White was really good against Oklahoma State. She had 8 points and 7 rebounds and had 8 points a year ago against Wichita State.
And she's really battling inside offensively. It's just, I think the Shockers have done a great job defensively inside of fronting her and not giving her position. And I know Duncan was asking how she got that foul when she was in front of the defender, but she kind of moved backwards and took her feet out of her on that box out.
So with Southern shooting 29.6 from the floor, a lot of rebounds to be had, and consequently Southern is +1 on the glass and +4 in offensive rebounds. So that's allowed the Lady Jags kind of hang around here.
And that's understandable, whereas the Shockers are shooting lights out, so their opportunities for offensive boards are not as prevalent.
So the final 121, Raven White now 1 out of 3 from the free throw line, and she splits a pair for the second time. So the lead now down to 8 for Wichita State. Final 80 seconds of the first half. Individually, McCarty with 8 for Wichita State. Forces, couldn't hit. Rebound, Raven White. Johnson leading all Lady Jags with 6 points. Nobody else has any more than 3.
This could be a big possession for the Jags if they can score here.
Foul, and now all of a sudden it's catching for Wichita State. The fouls are starting to pile up here at the end of the quarter.
The Jags are doing a better job of penetrating and creating some of those fouls on the Shockers.
Cabria Lee, first free throw of the year right here. She has a grand total of 2 points. Lee, redshirt junior from Fort Lauderdale. Off the heel, no good. So the second opponent in a row faced by Wichita State not doing themselves any favors at the free throw line. Lady Jags 2 of 5 now, and now 3 of 6. So the best they've been able to do is split 2 from the line here in the quarter. Final 49 seconds left. Lady Jags should get it back. Good give and go. Strong left it short with the left hand. Here come the Lady Jags back the other way. Down 7. Shock's biggest lead has been 9. Lady Jags led briefly by 3 points in the first quarter.
Good closeout by Baston.
And another foul on this end. I think that's going to go against Baston. So 2 more free throws coming for the Lady Jags, trying to chip away at this lead. Genevieve Johnson to the free throw line. She's got 6 points. And so far this year, she's 4 out of 6 from the stripe.
And it's amazing. The Shockers have almost doubled Southern's percentage field goal-wise, but they only lead by 7 and could be as little as 5.
Moore checks in for the final 15 seconds for the Lady Jags. So now 3 Shockers have 2 fouls apiece. Bremaw, Baston, and Colbert. Free throw rattles in. Johnson has 7. The Jags have gone nearly 4 minutes without a field goal. But Wichita State has gone nearly 3 minutes without a point. They've been stuck on 30 for a while. Final possession of the half, you would think. McCarty going one-on-one. And Adams beats the buzzer, wouldn't go, and the Jags still hanging around. It is 30-24 Wichita State. And we talked about this a little bit earlier, Tracy, that they were right there with Oklahoma State. They were right there with Kansas State before problems did them in the second half.
Right.
But when it comes to the first 20 minutes, expect a fight from Southern.
Well, yeah, and you know, as good as Wichita State's been, you know, offensive efficiency, you know, Coach Funchess can't be too upset with the fact they're only down 6.
+3 on the boards and 4 more offensive rebounds in Wichita State. So we go to the intermission with Wichita State leading 30-24. We'll get into the halftime show when we come back.
But most importantly, I just miss seeing you. Let's stick together even when we're alone. Go Shocks.
Welcome back to the Roundhouse on the campus of Wichita State. Shockers leading the Lady Jags 30-24. And the only way, Tracy, I guess you can survive an ice-cold shooting second quarter of 2 for 12 is to be feisty. That's what the Lady Jags have been.
Yes, they have, and they've hung in there, and even though they could be down by easily double digits, they're hanging around and doing the little things in order to stay in this game.
They made their first shot of the second quarter, then missed 10 of their next 11, but mixed in a few free throws, got the Shockers into a little bit of foul trouble. We'll get into that here in just a little bit. Our first half highlights coming up as Wichita State outscored Southern 13-9 in the second quarter. And Wichita State, maybe to foreshadow or look ahead just a little bit, Tracy, the third quarter this year they are +16 in point differential, so they really come out with a vengeance and a focus in the third quarter, and they're going to have to do that if they want to shake the Lady Jags here in the second half.
Yeah, absolutely, especially the types of shots that the Shockers have been getting. They're just getting anything they want in the paint, and that's been the reason they've gotten out to a lead. So they're going to have to shore that up in order to stay in this ball game.
Yeah, Wichita State with 20 points in the paint to just 6 for Southern. On the other hand, though, the Lady Jags with 4 3-pointers, which I don't know if that's 3 more than you would have expected for the whole game. They have not been bashful about firing them up, but they have outscored Wichita State from the 3-point line 12-3, as the Shockers only have 1 made 3-pointer themselves. When we come back, we'll have some more goodies for you. We'll have our first half stats, recap, and maybe some keys to the start of the third quarter. So hang around. Southern has done that here in Wichita.
Because when Shockers show up in a mask, we're showing up for each other.
Wichita State with a lead of a half a dozen. Now, Tracy, if I didn't allow you to look at that score and we just went right to the first half stats, and they're brought to you by Patterson Legal Group, I would guess that your guess would be Wichita State would be way, way out in front.
Oh yeah, I would say that it would be probably 45-24.
Yeah,
easily 15 more points, and so it's remarkable. And so Coach Funchess is as disappointed as he is in the types of shots that his team's given up. He's got to be thrilled that he's only down 6.
We were just talking during the break. Field goal percentage for Wichita State, turnovers for Wichita State. That usually would equate to about a 45 or 50-point half like you alluded to, and yet here we are.
Absolutely, and you're holding a team to 30%, and you only have a 6-point lead. And it's just because the one thing that the Jaguars have done is they've shortened the game. They've shortened the possessions. So they're using a good 22 to 29 seconds off the shot clock, so that limits the number of offensive opportunities that the Shockers have. And so they have to be really efficient offensively.
And in digging inside those numbers a little bit more, talking about Wichita State's very efficient first half, it seems like it's either been layup or really tough shot, nothing in between.
Yeah, and and sometimes when you get easy shots, a couple trips down the floor, like 3 straight trips, they got anything they wanted in the paint. So then the next couple of trips, you tend to force something thinking you can get that every time, and you just can't do that at this level.
So the Shockers with a lead of a half a dozen. As we mentioned a little bit earlier, the quarter that Wichita State has really thrived has been the third. Conversely, Southern has really struggled in the third. They're minus 18 in the third quarter, minus 30 in the scoring column in the fourth. Now, granted, that's been against K-State and Oklahoma State, 2 teams from the Big 12. But the Shockers have steamrolled a little bit in the second halves, and Southern has kind of wilted a little bit in the second half, so we'll see what gives here tonight.
Well, and the Shockers have done a good job, even though they only have 8 players, of really coming out and turning it up a notch in the third quarter in their previous 3 wins. And we'll see if they're able to do that tonight. They can't get much better shots than they're getting, but hopefully that will continue for them. But on the other side of the Jags, just need to keep doing what they're doing and knock down some free throws.
Yeah, they're
would help them.
Only 4 out of 8 individually. Something the stats didn't show, the individual stats. DJ McCarty with 8, Trajana Colbert with 8 to lead Wichita State in scoring. Johnson, their leading score, the Jags leading scorer, Genevieve Johnson, came in averaging 15 a game. She has 7. She's almost halfway there, but no other Lady Jag has more than 3. 4 players with 3 apiece. The foul situation is a situation for Wichita State. Carla Bremaw, Seraphine Baston, Trajana Colbert, all with 2, and only 1 Lady Jag is in any kind of trouble. Tynesha Metcalf has 2 fouls. No other Jag has more than 1. So there you go. You're up to date, and we're just about ready for the second half as Wichita State's homestand continues and Southern's road trip continues.
Yeah, I think the first 4 minutes of this quarter are going to be important for both teams to see if WSU can continue their string of an impressive third quarter, and if the Jaguars can, settle down defensively and tighten this up a little bit.
Next Lady Jaguar game will be at Mizzou. Next Shocker game will be here Sunday against Northern Iowa. So Southern continues their long and winding road, and Wichita State continues to be happy at home sweet home. So Southern will get the ball just in front of us to start this third quarter. So for Southern, it's Fleming, McWayne, Moore, Johnson, and White to start the third quarter. Strong, McCarty, Bremaw, Adams, and Baston for Wichita State. So 2 Shockers with 2 fouls will start the quarter.
And the Shockers are coming out in the zone again.
And a tough contested shot by Johnson. She knocks it down. 4 field goals for her, 9 total points.
That was almost identical to her very first shot to start the game.
She can score. And McCarty was cut off, but not before she was held to get all the way to the cup. She was going to pass it out on the corner to Bremaw, so maybe cost herself a couple of free throws, but DJ McCarty's made a living in the lane off the dribble drive. 20 to shoot for Wichita State. Bremaw was a little quiet offensively in the first half, and she draws a bump, will go to the free throw line, something she normally doesn't do. Normally she's a catch-and-shoot three-point threat, but Bremaw may be taking advantage of that. Got a half step on McWayne, I think, is who they're going to give the foul to.
I used to always tell my shooters on my squad that if when they first start the game, if they can start the game off of a drive, it loosens up that defense a little bit. So 3-point shooters, that's a great job by her to put it on the floor, even if she hadn't shot it, just to give that defender something to think about.
Bremaw spins in both free throws. She has 5. She had an early three-pointer. That's the only triple that Wichita State is connected on. Shockers now 5 of 8 from the foul line. Corner 3 wouldn't go down. A line drive by McWayne, no good. So now the Lady Jags are 4 out of 15 from long distance. McCarty, little hesitation.
Good ball movement by the Shockers.
Everybody touched it on the possession, and Strong left it a little short. She's struggled, relatively speaking, 3 out of 9 from the floor tonight. Strong came in connecting on 56.7 from the floor. McWayne got some space and dumps it in. McWayne's first 2-point basket. She has 5. And the Jags are within 4.
That was good rotation by Adams, but McWayne made a tough shot and, like you said, created some space.
Well, an offensive foul on Anae Adams for setting an illegal screen. So the first foul of the quarter on Wichita State. Adams' first personal. McWayne wide open, no good, off the heel. And an offensive rebound. And it looks like maybe we're going to have a Shocker foul on this end as well, as Moore wrestled it away from a couple of Shockers.
That's on Strong, I believe.
So now she's got 2. 4 Shockers have 2 fouls. And at this point, you talked about putting your coaching hat on. There's a near steal and is a steal by DJ McCarty. She'll call a 30-second timeout in order to keep the possession. Just about 2 minutes into the third quarter. So Shockers lead by 4. They keep the possession. We talked about Wichita State's homestand continuing. It's Sunday against Northern Iowa, then Thursday against South Dakota, then we hop into the American. You and I had talked about a little bit on one of the previous broadcasts, Tracy, about how if you're shorthanded, and Wichita State certainly is, with injury and otherwise, you get a chance to stay home, don't have to travel.
Yeah.
Makes things a lot better going into the conference, and the Tulsa game will mark that conference.
Well,
start.
I think in a normal year that's important, but especially in this year when so many things are in flux and with the COVID-19, that that's been really important and definitely has benefited them. But the next 2 ball games are going to be tough for the Shockers. Northern Iowa's always got a tough team, and South Dakota, has a great program and tradition. So that's going to be 2 tough games.
And we mentioned Southern has been on the road and will stay on the road. They're not exactly tiptoeing into their season. Look at those teams they have to play. Mizzou's next, and then the Big 12 team, SEC, back to the Big 12 before they jump into SWAC play and play Prairie View A&M the day after New Year's.
That's amazing. 6 power conference schools that they're going to play to open their season. So if he can keep these kids, understanding what they're going against, and they'll definitely be ready for conference play.
Again, they were picked to finish 3rd, so they are expected to make a lot of noise in the SWAC once we get there after the first of the year. So Wichita State so far with just 2 points in the first couple of minutes, and you talked a little bit during the half about the first 4 minutes of the third quarter will be probably pretty vital and telling of what the rest of the game's going to be like. Well, so far so good for Southern. They're 2 of the 4, and they're right there.
Yep. They need to see if they can continue that through the rest of this quarter and give them a chance to be in a game, to start the 4th and not too far behind.
Shockers' biggest lead was 30-21, and at that point, it looked like the Jags were kind of teetering, but they started drawing some Wichita State fouls, got to the free throw line, and now Wichita State can't hang on to the ball. Another offensive foul, a foul away from the ball, and that's Anae Adams' second foul of the quarter.
I think they've both been offensive fouls.
They have, yes. So Anae Adams goes to the bench. Trajada Colbert comes into the game.
And she has 2 fouls too. So.
Yes, she does. Really tough shot, partially blocked. The rebound and put back no good by White. Good, strong defensive possession that time for Wichita State. Two strong contests.
Yeah, Colbert did a nice job stepping over to help on that baseline drive. They are really battling inside.
Yes, they are. Yeah, it's a hand-to-hand combat between Moore and Strong. And now the Jags will get it back almost 3 minutes into the quarter, down just 4 again.
That's a good job by Moore. That's a tough matchup, and she was not giving Strong an inch.
And now you wonder if WSU post players will kind of get the yips down here, setting high ball screens with all the illegal screens. Good block by Trajana Colbert. Blocked it out of bounds. Will stay on this end. 12 left on the Southern shot clock. Third block of the game for Wichita State.
The Shockers continue to give up baseline drives, though, and that's got to be a point of concern for Coach Adams.
Deep in the shot clock, and they backed off of Johnson, gave her a decent look from 3. Trajana Colbert runs down the errant shot. That's 4 for 17 from deep now for the Lady Jags. Lead for Wichita State at 4 and holding.
Colbert's given them good minutes off the bench.
Strong picked up her dribble, got in a little bit of trouble. Baston bailed her out. Corner 3 short by Bremaw. Shockers are now just 1 of 5 from distance. And we've been stuck on 32-28 for a bit. Fleming thought about it, backed it out. Now left side, Johnson. Set shot 3 from straightaway, wouldn't go. And you really hit the nail on the head when we were talking at halftime, Tracy. The Lady Jags are milking the clock. They're barely shooting before 10 left in the shot clock, and they're taking their chances by shortening this game.
They're walking the ball up the floor. It's brilliant, actually. You know, if you're short numbers and you struggle offensively, then what you need to do is shorten the game as best you can.
Bremaw drew contact, didn't get a foul, and Seraphine Baston will be ticketed with a blocking foul. So things really disjointed for both teams as a run out by Fleming turned into Seraphine Baston's third foul. And I was just getting ready to ask you, at what point do you start saying, okay, enough's enough? When somebody gets 3, I guess that's the answer.
Yep.
So we'll see how long Baston has to sit on the sidelines and who will quarterback Wichita State in the meantime.
Oh.
And a travel by Raven White, who kind of bobbled it after getting a pass from Harlow.
All 5 officials caught that one.
Unanimous travel.
Yes. Shockers need a possession here to get a good look. Let's see what they...
8 turnovers now for the Lady Jags. Good look underneath and a left-handed finish, and one opportunity for Asia Strong. This will be her first trip to the free throw line, and you called that one. Yeah, Wichita State got a good, clean possession that time.
That's a great look. Great pass. She put the ball to where only Strong could get to it, so she threw it away from the defense. And young players they throw a pass to an offensive player, and that's not what you need to do. You need to throw the ball away from the defender so the offensive player is the only one, and that's exactly what she did there. Great pass.
Strong couldn't finish the three-point play, the old-fashioned three-point play, so lead is 6. Metcalf is back in there for the Lady Jags with her 2 fouls. She hit a first-half three-pointer. Inside 10 seconds again on the shot clock. Skip pass, Metcalf. Her 3 wouldn't go. Back tap by White, controlled by Wichita State. McCarty, runner, no good. She draws a foul. And this has been a tough quarter and a half, shooting-wise, for the Jags. We'll explain when we come back.
Assassin. Olivera continues to get it done.
DJ McCarty is tied for the individual lead in scoring with 2 of her teammates. Johnson leading all scores with 9, and now we have co-leaders as DJ McCarty hits her 3rd free throw. Shockers with a 7-point lead now here midway through the third. It's been a cold shooting last really 10 game clock minutes for Southern. 1 out of 2. Strong has it wrestled away from her, but we will stay on this end with the alternating possession. So Southern is 1 for their last 8, and they were 2 of 12 in the second quarter. So we again marvel at how the Jags have somehow found a way to stick around in this game. They trail by only 7 simply because they have squeezed the shot clock pretty much all the way down every time they get the ball. And they haven't turned it over much either.
Right. And they've shorted up on the defensive end. The Shockers are finding it a lot harder to get clean open looks. So they've done a good job defensively on this quarter against the Shockers.
Free throws the rest of the way in the quarter as well. Trajada Colbert will go there for the first time. 2 out of 4 on the season. And really neither team doing themselves much favors at the free throw line. Both of them right at 50% from the stripe.
And Harlow picks up her 3rd foul.
Yeah, she joins Baston with 3 for Wichita State. Colbert missed both. Strong with the offensive rebound. Through a triple team, forced it up, wouldn't go. You had the idea that once she got the ball, that was going up. Strong.
Great rebound, but she really needed to kick that out and look for an open player. That would have been a very difficult shot to make. Empty
trip for Wichita State. Jags inside 4 minutes here in the quarter. And just as they have been wont to do, the shot clock is inside 10. McCarty took it away, a bounce ahead, and a run out and a layup for Johnson. Rachel Johnson's first basket, and Wichita State continues to outpace the Lady Jags in fast break points now too with 10-5.
Good job reading the reversal pass by the guards on there. Shockers are doing a good job talking in that zone and very active hands.
And a walk called on Lee. So now turnover has become a little bit of an issue for Southern as after a brief rest, Amani McQuain checks back in as well as their leading scorer, Genevieve Johnson.
And that can be maybe a trend towards, conditioning, and you get tired. You start just making some mental errors that you didn't do when you were sharp and not fatigued.
Well, Southern has gone more than 5 minutes without a point. They have been stuck on 28 since about the 8-minute mark of the quarter. There's another foul and will result in more Wichita State free throws. Strong 0 for 1 from the stripe, 1 for 3 this year. On the day, 8 points, 4 rebounds, a couple of assists. Second foul on Johnson. Free throw good. So Asia Strong closing in on her 3rd consecutive double-figure scoring effort. In her first season as a Shocker, she nails both. So now she's in double figures, and suddenly Wichita State has its biggest lead thanks to a 7-0 run and a 5-18 scoring drought for the Lady Jags. Carlos Funchess got to be thinking, here we go again.
I know, right?
Just
exactly.
Sticking around, but the third quarter has just been a killer. And putting her head down and driving to the basket was Genevieve Johnson. I think she's going to get some free throws here. Well, she will, because Wichita State, regardless, is over the limit.
Yeah, she's tough off the bounce. Does a good job of slicing through, and that was an obvious foul on Adams.
Johnson 1 for 2 tonight. She's 5 out of 8 so far on the young season from the line. And the drought is finally over at 5:40.
Well, and that's what you have to do. If you're struggling to score, you got to figure out different ways to get the ball in the basket. And get to the free throw line is one of those, turning some turnovers into transition. But the Shockers have done a good job of taking care of the ball. So getting to the free throw line might be the only thing that the Jaguars can do.
White checks in for Kinsey for the Lady Jags. White, their best rebounder tonight, 7 rebounds for the Lady Jags, and a turnover in backcourt. So the 2 free throw makes allowed Lady Jags to set up their press.
Yep.
Johnson hits. Now all of a sudden, Lady Jags got a little something going.
Johnson has a really nice pull-up, Jay. She elevates so well. It's a very tough shot to defend.
11 points for Johnson. McCarty, and losing it on the way up was Rachel Johnson. Anae Adams pulled it down, then Strong knocked it away from her. Jags have an opportunity to slice this thing down to 5. Boy, a lot of dribbling over there by the bench by McQueen. She got away with it. Skip pass, got to McQueen. Line drive jumper, rolls in. So the Lady Jags went nearly 6 minutes without scoring, and just like that, they've got 6 in a row.
Yeah, that press energized them and gave them some easy buckets.
6 points in 50 seconds for Southern here in the quarter.
Great pass by Johnson.
Strong had great position, couldn't finish, but Anae Adams wasn't taking anything for granted. She's got the putback, and that's her first basket.
She just hangs around the rim, and until she knows for a fact that somebody else has it, she's going for the rebound. I love that about her.
6 rebounds for Anae Adams, who came in averaging 9 a game. McQueen pulls up from the mid-range and hits. McQueen feeling it a little bit. She's got 9 points. She had 9 in the loss against Oklahoma State. Lead cut down to 5 again. Closing in on a minute left in the quarter.
The Jags sure aren't playing like they're tired. They look very energized this quarter.
Hit their last 3 from the floor. Johnson, a long 3 and hits. Rachel Johnson hits Wichita State's second 3 of the night. Only 2, but that was a big one.
They haven't shot too many because they haven't had to, but the Jags have kind of shored up their defense.
And they are catching fire all of a sudden from the floor after going ice cold for the first half of it. Johnson scores again. So we'll see what the Shockers have up their sleeves here on the final possession of the third quarter. Johnson shuffled her feet and then collided after the fact with Johnson, I think. And well, they bumped noggins. I think both of them are shaken up just a little bit. Johnson was slow to get up. Rachel Johnson, that is. And then Genevieve Johnson was kind of touching at her face a little bit as she was jogging down into the forecourt. So they both took a shot. And I think we're going to go to the monitor and
it was head-to-head contact. It shouldn't be anything.
So I think we're going to have our first review of any sort here this evening. Isaac Johnson is masked up and going over to check things out. Here's what Tracy was talking about. We'll see if any arms or anything were involved. Didn't look like it.
Yeah.
Temple to the chin.
I don't know which one got the worst
I
of that.
was going to say, that's a tough break for both.
Yeah. Quick review, as it should have been.
No elbows or shoulders were involved, so.
I like that by the officiating crew. Get in, make a decision, get out. Nice job.
If it's clear after the first time you see it,
right,
then let's go.
Exactly, yep. Don't try to make something that's not there.
So the Lady Jags will go three-quarter court in 13 seconds, try to cut into the 6-point Shocker lead. Been deadlocked here in the quarter, 14-14. Lady Jags have hit their last 4 from the floor. McQueen, boy, she had a good look and then fumbled it. So Wichita State leads by 6 going to the final 10 minutes here at Charles Koch Arena.
Okay.
Shane Dennis and Tracy Anderson back with you here at the Roundhouse. Southern went nearly 6 minutes without a point, and then they went about 3 minutes without missing. Southern last year gave Wichita State all it wanted in the only other meeting between the two programs. It turned into a 6-point Wichita State victory, and it's looking like more of the same here tonight.
Yeah, Coach Funchess has to be happy with that third quarter because they didn't give anything up, and they're staying within striking distance and His kids are playing well, and they're playing a lot better defensively.
Yeah, the Shocker lead was 6 at halftime, and it remained so after a stalemate in the third quarter.
Shockers come out with a little bit of a man, so switch things up.
And a turnover forced up ahead. Colbert on a feed from Johnson. Ooh. And an offensive foul is called against Trajada Colbert. And I was just getting ready to say that anybody that's got any foul trouble at all, which is 2 or 3 fouls, is probably in the game right now. And Trajada Colbert just got called for her third.
Mm-hmm, yes.
So she joins a bevy of players with 3 fouls now. 2 of her teammates and 1 player for Southern, all with 3 fouls.
I think that was the right call. It's just surprising that it came from the outside official.
Right in front of us,
yes.
About 45 feet away from the action, yep. So each team with a turnover here in the early fourth, and nearly another.
Oh, great block.
Blocked by Colbert out of bounds. That is 5 blocked shots by the Shockers tonight.
Does she have 3 of them?
She has at least 2.
Yep.
Stand by on that. One on the shot clock. That might be problematic.
Oh.
Apparently not. And
oh, wow. I thought they were going to call a foul for
I did
a second.
too. I thought that's what the call was,
yeah.
But apparently the shot didn't get hoisted quite in time.
Bremaw needs to be careful. That wasn't the smartest move there to try to jump and block that 3-point shot.
Trajada Colbert does have 3 blocked shots, by the way.
Yes, very good.
And she is fouled on a pretty nice feed, a little high-low feed there. That wasn't exactly a diagonal pass, as you coaches like that.
Yeah.
Diagonal pass, those are the easy ones, but the ones right over the top are the toughies.
Yeah, she needed to put a little bit of air underneath that, but a great call by Coach Adams to go high-low, because I don't think the Jaguars can match up with both Colbert and Strong.
Cutting to the basket, Baston. Pretty nice look by Strong. But Baston thought better of it. That was the first foul on Raven White a moment ago. So now the Shockers deep in the shot clock for a change. Rachel Johnson has to go to work, and she's fouled about 25 feet from the basket. Genevieve Johnson picks it up. That will be her third.
They can't afford to lose her. She's single-handedly kept them in this ball game offensively.
15 of their 38 come from number 25. So there's 2 quick fouls in the quarter for Southern. Baston back into the game after a long rest. Not by her choosing either. Johnson looking for her second triple, wouldn't go down. Colbert kept it alive. Baston controls.
Good decision by Baston. Get the ball out. Give him opportunity to set that up.
Bremaw with a hard take to the basket. It spun out. She kept it alive and helped rescue the possession. We'll stay here for a potential third Wichita State shot. Strong wants a 3. Wouldn't go. Hadn't been her night, at least so far, shooting the ball and going down in a heap and maybe hitting her head on the floor was Trajada Colbert. And that is the last thing that Keitha Adams needs is concussion issues.
Yes.
Seemed like over the last 2 years or so, somebody on the roster was always trying to come back from a concussion. And you don't want to speculate, but that was a pretty loud thud in the middle of the lane.
She hit it hard. Hopefully it knocked the wind out of her more than she hit her head.
But Colbert a little slow to get up. Both teams huddling near their benches. Take a look right in the middle of your screen. Yeah, I don't think there's any disguising what happened there.
No.
Good to see that she's up and active anyway, and I'm sure that the Shocker training staff will make sure that all the protocols are followed.
Yes, absolutely.
So she comes out, maybe briefly, maybe not. We'll keep an eye on her. So nearly 2 minutes in, the score has not changed from the end of the third quarter. Southern hanging around. Down a half dozen, even though they've only shot 32.5% from the floor for the game. That three wouldn't go. That's now 4 for 20 for Southern from deep. And a foul on Rachel Johnson.
Weak side boards have been a thorn in the Shockers' side tonight.
That's only Johnson's first personal, so she's one of the few not in trouble. Not in trouble. Raven White couldn't control it, and now she falls into Asia Strong and gets whistled for her second personal. Not exactly sprinting toward the finish line here in Wichita. It's been a disjointed offensive effort really for both teams. The Shockers, up until really recently, had shot a high percentage, but just didn't have a lot of points to go to show for it. And Southern has had multiple long scoring droughts, and yet they're still in it. Baston created for Breemaw. That wouldn't go.
Good look. Good kick out by Baston.
Genevieve Johnson with the rebound, taking it coast to coast. Now backs it out. 2.5 minutes without a point here in the quarter. Right angle three wouldn't go. Metcalf has missed a couple of triples in back-to-back possessions. Shockers secure the rebound. Still up 6. Strong, just barely saved an over and back. The side of her shoe was right by the stripe. 5 on the shot clock for Baston.
Good defense by the Jags.
Great defense. Ball hit the rim, and A. Adams keeps it alive. She's like the Energizer Bunny on offense, or the offensive glass anyway, but Wichita State will give it right back.
She came from across the floor on that rebound and was able to tip it out to herself, just couldn't keep herself from going out of bounds. Both teams have shorted up defensively.
They certainly have.
They really have.
This has turned into a rock fight in the second half. Made baskets have been really tough to come by. Shockers 4 out of 16. Jags 6 out of 18 from the floor in the second half. McWayne got cut off deep in the shot clock now. The Jags really got to go, and Breemaw fouls at the end of the shot clock. She got away with one on a three-pointer a couple of minutes ago, but no such luck for Carla Breemaw that time late in the shot clock and trying to cut off Fleming.
That is the coach's biggest pet peeve, I will tell you. When they had to force a shot up to beat the shot clock and you bail them out.
That's assuming that Fleming knew that the shot clock was winding down.
Right.
You never know
That's true.
as far as that goes either. So here we go again. Inside 10 seconds. Fleming's going to try it again. Works on Baston this time, and Breemaw knocked it away this time. So Breemaw kind of made amends there from the foul by creating a turnover. We have gone over 4 minutes without a point either side. Breemaw cuts to the basket and breaks the drought. Carla Breemaw, a little give and go. Her first 2-point basket of the night. She's got 7 points.
That was a great cut by Breemaw. She came tight off that screen and curled, and her kid trailed her and gave it. She had an easy bucket.
That's back-to-back 6-assist games for DJ McCarty. That was her 6th helper tonight. Fleming set shot 3, wouldn't go.
Again, a weak side board.
McWayne carved out a space for herself and couldn't hit.
McWayne's been really good on the boards for Southern. She just couldn't finish.
She hasn't been able to buy a basket on the offensive end, and now Baston has Wichita State with a little something going.
You are not going to stop her if she gets a full head of steam. And she's so good, both hands. It doesn't matter if she's going left or right. She just slices through the defense.
Baston in her first 2 games, 9.5 points, 2.5 rebounds, 5 assists, 2.5 steals. Like you said, there is nothing that she can't help you with.
No.
On either end of the floor.
And she's so strong. You know, these games that are physical and you know, it's late in the game, and she looks as fresh as if it was in the first few minutes to start the game.
So the only 4 points of the quarter belong to Wichita State. Biggest lead of the game. Adams comes over, shuts off the driver, and Wichita State with another stop.
You know, it's not going to show up in the stat line, but Adams has done a really nice job for the Shockers defensively. She rotates over. She's made Southern take some contested shots, and, of course, she's always in somebody you have to be aware of on the offensive and defensive rebounds.
8 rebounds for Anae Adams. Offensive foul or foul over the back on Wichita State. The Shockers with a 10-point lead. Well, you can't coach the ball to go into the basket, but it's not going to stop Keitha Adams or Carlos Funches from trying in the last 4:21, where Tracy in the second half points have really been at a premium.
Yes, it has. And it's two things, I think. One, the defensive effort by both teams has been excellent. And, you know, when you're late in the week and you're short numbers, your legs, you feel it, especially being on the road for Southern and playing lots of minutes.
And drive to the basket by Genevieve Johnson results in 2 free throws.
She's a really nice player. She's got a very quick first step, pull-up jump shot. She's been a handful for the Shockers today.
Johnson had 9 against Wichita State in their game last year. And in the opener, a loss to K-State, she had 21. So she is heading down that road tonight. She's got a game-high 16. Hit them both.
We'll see if Southern comes out. Yep, looks like they're going to come out in a little bit of press here. So getting to the free throw line allows them to shorten the game. That's what they're going to try to do here.
Moore guarding the inbound against Wichita State now as part of a double team against Baston, who threw it through the fingertips of a teammate, and the turnover gives the Jags the ball back, down 8. Baston with a rebound after Metcalf misfired. That was big.
Yep, huge.
And Baston loses it again. Adams, though, saves.
Wow, what a save by Adams.
What looked like back-to-back Shocker turnovers, but for the moment, Adams saves the day.
Again, that's one of those little intangibles that won't show up in the box score, but that was a huge play.
That was the possession of Anae Adams right there. She saved the ball from going out of bounds. A couple of moves in the post. Spun to her right shoulder.
Great footwork.
And she's got an opportunity with a 3-point play. And if she can convert, would equal Wichita State's largest lead of the game. Anae Adams, 4 out of 8 from the stripe coming into the game tonight. And not to be, so the Shockers will have to settle for a 10-point lead.
For those young players, that epitomizes what you can do in order to get on the floor. You know, it won't show up in the box score, but that was an amazing play and gave her team an opportunity to build the lead.
Adams, the sophomore, hails from Nigeria by way of Grayson College. And here come the Jags again.
Great hesitation by Johnson. Went right around 3 Wichita State defenders.
And Wichita State comes right back, beats, in essence, Baston beat the whole Jags team down the floor.
Those two, those two have been battling. They're carrying both teams on their back, and they're fighting to the end.
So Genevieve Johnson now with 19 for Southern. Bremaw back into the game for Wichita State. Baston to the free throw line. She, throughout her already decorated career, one of the best free throw shooters in Shocker history. She's in some pretty select company. She's right around 76.5% from the line in her career.
And I think she could actually get to the line more often, but she's so strong that a lot of times I think, fouls are not called for her because she just powers through contact.
She's not much into flopping, is she?
No, she's not.
She stays on her feet. And
yes, she does.
She keeps her head down. Angle right side 3 wouldn't go. Adams with her 9th rebound.
Well, that was big for the Jaguars. If that had gone down, that would have really changed the course of this game.
But they just cannot buy consistent baskets.
Right.
They are 1 of 10 from the floor. In the quarter, there goes Baston again. And now it's starting to get away from Southern a little bit as Seraphine Baston's trying to take over.
Yeah, I think Johnson's a little fatigued, and she should be because she's played a remarkable game, and she's had a tough matchup trying to keep Baston in front of her.
So Carlos Funches calls a timeout. I think he has started to feel what we're feeling over here, in that Southern, for as much activity as they've had on the glass, are just kind of seemingly running out of steam. I think this is a really well-timed timeout.
Yeah. I'm a little surprised he hasn't called another timeout before then, because his team was battling, and he needs to stop the clock and be able to press.
So this now is a 4-possession game with 2:21 left. If you joined us late, this is not a good three-point shooting Southern team. Even though they've made 4, it's taken them 23 shots to do it. So for the season, they are now 5 of 40 from three-point range. So if you're into getting back into the game 3 points at a time, you might be barking up the wrong tree. But we'll see what happens with the final 2:21 for the Lady Jags and the shot selection that they go with.
Yeah, and if you're not a good three-point shooting team, the one thing you need to do is you need to attack the basket and get to the free throw line. You can't be, taking time off the clock, which, well.
There you go.
Yep.
And to the line.
There you go.
We'll go Metcalf. Yeah, both teams over the limit, so it'll be free throws from here on out. But, yeah, if you can't get a quick 3, put your head down and get to the rim if you're Southern here. 4th foul on Bremaud, but at this point it's leave the best players that you got out there until it's over one way or the other.
Yeah, Carla would have been better had she just stepped off and gave her those points and not even contested it.
Fleming came into the game averaging 5 per. She's got 3, 1 of 4 3-pointers made by Southern. She's got 1 of them. And she gets 1 free throw, so now it's a 11-point Shocker lead. Unfortunately for Southern, it's still a 4-possession game. And into the forecourt we go with 2 minutes left. Johnson stepped on the sideline. So Rachel Johnson trying to beat a trap, and the Lady Jags wisely using the sideline as another defender.
Yeah, they need to keep the ball in the middle of the floor, but once the ball went to her, the other Shockers kind of went away from her, didn't give her an option.
11 turnovers for Wichita State, 3rd consecutive game where they've had a manageable number of giveaways. McWayne, a long-awaited 3. Amani McWayne is just 5 for 19 from the floor and 2 of 10 from 3. But it's not over yet.
Great recovery.
Tremendous play that time by Moore to prevent a run out and maybe an unnecessary pass for Seraphine Baston. And now a quick timeout, I think, called by Carlos Funches. So, Shockers with some questionable ball handling decisions has kept the door ajar just a little bit for Southern.
Absolutely. And it just tightens things up, so if they start fouling, it tightens you up at the free throw line. And again, if they score here, they'll have a chance to put a press on.
Both teams in the bonus. Southern down to its final timeout. Shockers have 3 if they need them. And instead of, in that last possession, getting across the timeline and forcing Southern to make a decision, do we foul or do we let Wichita State bleed the shot clock down? Shockers turned it over.
Yeah. And I'm sure they're going to try to get the ball out of Baston's hands because she's their best free throw shooter.
Historically, Bremaud, very good from the line. And all the rest of the Shockers out there, newcomers that we're going to have to find out as we go. And Baston, an unnecessary foul with a step through. So Wichita State bound and determined to keep the Lady Jags in this. Strong was beaten off the dribble, and Baston was late coming over.
Well, and I tell you, that's just a tough move by Johnson. She slid to avoid the defense, and then Baston kind of slid over in order to keep the contact and got called for the foul. It was a great offensive move.
Johnson's going to be a problem in league play.
She is. She is a tough matchup. She's strong. She really elevates on her jump shot, like I've said earlier, and she's got a couple of different moves in her basket.
2 21-point games in her first 3. Genevieve Johnson.
It's a 6-point ball game.
This is very much still a game. Now, can Baston force Southern to foul? So far, so good on this trip down the floor. Wow. Nearly another turnover.
Yes.
And Seraphine Baston is just having a nightmare fourth quarter, and she was begging Rachel Johnson to come meet the pass. 16 to shoot. They can't foul McCarty. It looked like they were trying to.
Mm-hmm.
Now Strong gets around White, and she's fouled. Hacked by McWayne with 6 on the shot clock. So short of Asia Strong making both of these free throws, that was probably best case scenario for Wichita State.
Absolutely.
Used a lot of clock, got a foul at the end. Now we're inside a minute.
But Southern, you got to give it to them. They are fighting tooth and nail down to the wire.
Strong with 10 points and 4 rebounds. She has split 4 attempts at the free throw line. Shockers have done the same as a team. They're 10 of 20 and now 10 of 21. So you can't put a lid on this one just yet. 2-possession game. Metcalf kind of taking her time. Baston fell way off of her, daring her to shoot a 3. She did, and
That's
Strong.
gonna be on Strong.
Yep,
Yeah.
Strong is moving Raven White out. So this is an agonizing final 3.5 minutes, really, for both teams. Southern had gone so much of the game unable to buy a basket. And Wichita State has been poised for a long time to slam the door and haven't been able to.
Nope, it's like they had a jam in it right there, and they can't seem to get it, shut it down.
I'm not sure either head coach is going to be very pleased at the end of this one, regardless of who wins.
No, but I think I do think Carlos, he's got to feel good about his program because they're fighting hard, and you know they couldn't score a basket, but they're staying in it by hustle.
If you're into such things, 4 Shockers have 4 fouls apiece. Shockers used one of their remaining 3 timeouts with just under 42 seconds. They'll have the length of the floor to go. Genevieve Johnson leading all scorers with 21 points. Amani McWayne has added 12, but she's needed 19 shots to get it. Shockers have had 11 from Baston, 10 from Strong, 8 from Colbert, 9 from McCarty. So pretty good balance considering only 8 bodies, and for the first time in 3 games, all 8 players have not scored. Duncan played briefly for the Shockers and has not scored, but everybody else has pitched in.
Yeah, it's been a good way for the Shockers to kind of give the ball up, and I don't know how many assists they have.
10 on 21
yeah.
makes, so just okay.
Yeah.
Statistically speaking, compared to what they did the first 2 games.
But I think Southern's defense has been good. Outside of the first half, they've really shut it down in the second half defensively and made it tough for the Shockers to score.
38.1 from the floor for the Shockers in the second half to back up your point. So after the timeout, got to advance it in forecourt, of course. Baston double-teamed, picks up her dribble. Johnson with a one-handed catch to bail her out, and then she's hacked by Genevieve Johnson.
A couple of issues there. First of all, Baston caught the ball very close to the sideline, so it was like she was triple-teamed, and then the Shockers went completely away from her. So that's a tough pass to make clear across the court.
Genevieve Johnson's 4th foul. And the Shockers could use these 2 free throws from Rachel Johnson. And that one spins out. Shockers have missed 12 of their 22 from the line.
Yeah, it hasn't been a good night for the Shockers at the free throw line.
Rachel Johnson splits a pair. She's got 6 points. So it's now a 2-possession game. Southern needs a pair of threes in the final half minute. Or 6 points total some other way.
Good back cut.
McWayne with a backdoor layup. McWayne has 14. Baston a one-man press break, and into the forecourt she goes. And wisely dribbles away from a double team. And is Southern going to concede? It looked like they were going to for a minute.
They were only down 4.
Yeah, leads 4, and some precious seconds went off the clock before Metcalf committed a 2-handed foul on DJ McCarty. Wichita State may have caught a break right there.
Yeah, they sure
I don't know
did.
if there was a lapse in judgment or...
I don't know if they thought there was not so much time left on the clock, but yeah, those were valuable seconds.
And Wichita State has kind of acquiesced from the free throw line too. So if you foul at least 4 or 5 seconds earlier.
I think Coach Funchess could ask to go to the monitor because there was some contact from Baston on a Southern player.
Carlos Funchess is last time out. Can't take it back to Baton Rouge with him, so he'll burn it here as Wichita State got 2 very big free throws to make this yet again a 2-possession game. Now, the Lady Jags will get it in forecourt, but they only have 11.8 seconds left, so they need a minor miracle here.
Yeah.
Even if, and close your ears because you're a former coach, even if Wichita State fouls here, there's what Tracy was talking about right there, a stray left hand by Serafini Baston. Looked like it made contact with a Southern player above the shoulders, and you know what that could have meant. And that was with the score 55-51 at the time.
That would have been a huge difference.
Now I guess it makes more sense that the Southern players were kind of flat-footed. They're expecting a call the other way, so that explains that. Well, at any rate, Wichita State got all it wanted in each of the last 2 years out of Southern. 69-63 was the final a year ago, and Wichita State has had to grind out every last second.
Yep.
If indeed they are going to hang on to win.
Southern has really played hard and given themselves a chance when, for all intents and purposes, they should have been completely out of this ball game.
Johnson's driving layup is no good, and
that's a
called
tough
that
call.
one. Yeah, there's a foul on Wichita State with 8.4, but Southern needed points in a hurry, and the clock is not their friend right now.
Right. McCarty did everything right. It's just sometimes, the call's still going to go against you. She didn't move. She didn't jump.
Genevieve Johnson has 22 of Southern's 52 points. She's been real good.
Yes.
7 of 12 from the floor, 8 of 9 from the line.
And she's only a sophomore. She's going to be a tough matchup for the SWAC conference.
And now Wichita State might as well burn a timeout and advance the ball about 60 feet, so they will. 57-53. Southern just out of reach. It's like an arm's reach and then just a little more.
Absolutely.
They're going to run out of time, it looks like, more than anything.
But I think they're gonna cause some problems for this SWAC conference if they can stay healthy and get some more offensive scoring punch to help out Johnson. They'll be tough because they defend, they play hard. They're very scrappy. They just need another offensive weapon.
Preseason poll has them to pick to finish third. And from here, they go on to Columbia to play Mizzou.
Yeah,
no steal, no foul, and that's going to do it. So Wichita State, it wasn't pretty, but they go to 3-0 for the second time in Keitha Adams' first 4 years at the school, and Southern a tough luck loss to drop to 0-3. Up next is Mizzou, as we mentioned, for Southern. They play them on Tuesday, and Wichita State will be right back here on Sunday afternoon as part of a men's-women's doubleheader. They will take on former Missouri Valley Conference foe, Northern Iowa. So the Shockers 3-0, the Jags 0-3. We will come back and start the post-game show right after this. Well, Wichita State hangs on to win. It wasn't a Rembrandt, Tracy, but they're not always going to be. And really, I think you can credit both teams' defenses for the low scores tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, especially Southern making the adjustment in the second half because Wichita State was having their way that first half. But both teams fought hard, and it was a very physical game.
And the final stats will bear out the fact that the thing that just killed Southern is they weren't able to come up with consistent baskets. There were at least 3 prolonged scoring droughts, and I'm not talking about droughts without a field goal. I'm talking about no points at all.
Yeah, that was definitely the difference in the ball game, and they couldn't even, make points when it came to the free throw line or in transition because the Shockers did a nice job of taking care of the ball for the most part.
And Southern did have 5 3-pointers, but missed their other 20. They were 5 for 25 from 3. The Shockers really kind of went away from the 3-point shot tonight, concentrated on points in the paint, as you see right there, plus 20.
And that was excellent. And that's what gave them a little bit of a cushion to start the half, to start the game, and got them to have a really good percentage as far as points in the paint. But then that changed in the second half.
All right, let's take a look at our play of the game. It's brought to you by Green Vision, and it had to do with our assist leader of the evening, DJ McCarty, with the assist. She had 6 of the 10 Shocker assists tonight. That's back-to-back games that McCarty's had 6 assists.
Yeah, and that's a nice job by the sophomore. She's kind of coming into her own, and I think she's much better when she looks to distribute and then score secondly.
And let's call her our player of the game as well, courtesy of Kansas Star. McCarty, 11 points, one of 3 Shockers in double figures. Nobody got more than 11. McCarty and Baston both did have 11, and DJ McCarty can get you in a lot of different ways, but she's hard to stop when she gets ahead of steam.
She is, and she's got a lot of things in her repertoire. She's got a great hesitation. She can go left and right, and she's very quick. She's got great hands. I like her on the defensive end too.
So Wichita State stays unbeaten. They get to 3-0. They'll be back in action again on Sunday as Northern Iowa comes to town, and Southern, after the tough luck loss, will take on Mizzou Tuesday in Columbia. For Tracy Anderson, I'm Shane Dennis. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and so long from Charles Koch Arena.